Yeah, I think when you talk to guys that have kind of had this injury I had, a lot of times you're stronger. I feel stronger than I've ever felt as far as strength and lifting and stuff like that. And so now it's just about getting that quarterback stuff down, that stuff moving in the pocket quick, making those quick movements, reacting and doing stuff like that. And so I feel like you got to continue to work and get better and better and go throughout practice and prove to the coaches, prove to the doctors and everybody that I'm the same quarterback I was before, if not better, and I can go out there and take care of myself and win football games. I'm a competitor, so game day I'm going to want.
And they need him to be full go week 1.
Y'all are tripping. You gotta be kidding me. You gotta be kidding me. I mean, last time I checked, they got Kenneth Walker as their new running back. You got Rashee Rice, who ain't gonna be suspended, all right?
In this league, nobody tells the truth during a comeback. They give you the rehearsed answers. I feel great. Taking it day by day. Trusting the process. It's all garbage, carefully constructed PR nonsense designed to protect the franchise's investment. But every once in a while, a player says something that cuts through all of it. And you realize this isn't a recovery. This is a declaration of war. You just heard it yourself. Patrick Mahomes, standing at that podium, 7 months after tearing his ACL and LCL to shreds, looked into those cameras and said he feels stronger than he's ever felt. Not better. Not okay. Stronger. And then he dropped the line that should terrify every defensive coordinator in the AFC. I'm going to prove I'm the same quarterback I was before, if not better. That's not a guy who's just happy to be back. That's a man who watched his team go 6-1, won from his couch. Watched them miss the playoffs for the first time in a decade. And has been stewing in that pain for 7 straight months. And now he's about to unleash it all.
The status, take a listen.
Pat's doing great with his, and right now he's got clearance to practice and do all the different periods that we have in this camp, and then
Let's set the stage for how we got here. Because the fall of the Kansas City Chiefs in 2025 was one of the most shocking collapses in modern NFL history. This was a franchise that had been to 4 Super Bowls in 5 years. 3-time champions. The dynasty. The gold standard. Patrick Mahomes was supposed to be the man who carried this league on his back for the next decade. And then, December 14th. L'Antenling Archewu. The Los Angeles Chargers. A routine scramble. Mahomes plants his foot. His knee buckles. And just like that torn ACL, torn LCL, season over. Surgery the very next day in Dallas. And let me be clear about what we're talking about here. This wasn't just an ACL. This was multi-ligament damage. The LCL was involved too. That's a significantly more complex recovery. Most guys are looking at 10 to 12 months before they even think about full contact activity. Mahomes did it in 7. 7. He was doing everything in minicamp except one-on-one drills. And then just 2 days before training camp opened, his doctor cleared him for full participation. 2 days. That's how close this was to being a very different conversation. The Chiefs, already struggling at 6-5 when Mahomes went down, proceeded to lose their final 6 games without him. 6-11. Their worst record since 2012. The 10-year playoff streak, tied for the second longest in NFL history, snapped like a twig. The dynasty wasn't just paused. For the first time, people started asking, is it over? And that's the question everyone's been whispering since January. Because this wasn't just an injury. This was a reckoning. The cracks had been forming for a while. The offense had become predictable. Kelsey was dropping passes at a rate we'd never seen from him. Xavier Worthy, their first-round pick, who was supposed to be the next Tyreek Hill, was a disaster, throwing over 20 yards downfield. 1 touchdown. 3 interceptions on deep balls. That should never happen in a Patrick Mahomes offense. Ever. Rashee Rice was in and out of the lineup, dealing with his own injury issues. The run game was non-existent, despite facing the most light boxes in football. And the defense, the unit that had carried them to 2 of those 3 Super Bowls, was starting to show its age.
The Avengers level thing it was a few years ago. Doubting Patrick Mahomes is like doubting Mount Everest or gravity, things that are always there, and you think, oh, maybe this is the year Mount Everest is going. No, Mount Everest is always there. Patrick Mahomes is always going to be great. The issue is now the folks around him, the disappointment.
And Kevin Clark nailed it when he said doubting Patrick Mahomes is like doubting Mount Everest. The mountain is always there. But here's the thing. Clark also said that nobody wants to talk about the issue isn't Mahomes. It's everyone around him. Travis Kelce is entering his 14th NFL season. 14th. His targets have been declining. His separation has been declining. The tight end who once terrorized the middle of the field is now a guy who needs schemed open throws just to stay relevant. And the defense? They lost Trent McDuffie, their best cornerback, traded to the Rams. Brian Cook, one of their best safeties, walked to Cincinnati in free agency. They're replacing proven all-pro talent with rookies and hoping for the best.
And I think sometimes we can take for granted the road and what it takes in order to do that. This turnaround is pretty remarkable if he, in fact, is ready to go week 1.
Yeah, Andy Reid famously said,
But if you think the Chiefs are going to just roll over and accept mediocrity, you haven't been paying attention. The front office went to work this offseason like a franchise that knew its window was closing and, more importantly, knew that Patrick Mahomes coming back from a torn ACL meant they couldn't ask him to carry the entire offense on one leg. Kenneth Walker III, the Super Bowl LX MVP, signed a 3-year deal worth up to $45 million. This man rushed for over 1,200 yards in Seattle and was the best player on the field in the biggest game of the year. He's explosive. He's physical, and he can catch the ball out of the backfield. The Chiefs haven't had a 1,000-yard rusher since Kareem Hunt in 2017. 9 years. Think about that. A decade of asking Patrick Mahomes to manufacture everything through the air. And now you finally give him a legitimate running game. Walker changes everything. He takes the pressure off Mahomes. He makes the play-action game lethal again. He gives Andy Reid the running back he's been pretending he doesn't need for the last half-decade. And more importantly, he gives Mahomes fewer carries, fewer scrambles, fewer moments where a 230-pound linebacker is diving at his surgically repaired knee. Then there's Justin Fields, acquired from the Jets for a 6th-round pick. Not a world beater, but a very capable backup who can keep the offense functional if Mahomes needs to ease into the season. The problem, as Andrew Hawkins pointed out, is that if Mahomes doesn't start week 1, you're essentially installing 2 different offenses, one for Mahomes, one for Fields. And every week you wait is a week of chemistry you're never getting back. In a conference this loaded, you can't afford to give away free games.
Or who even plays quarterback. It's small little moves that went under the radar nationally. Brian Cook, a great safety going from Kansas City to Cincinnati. Just guys, Trent McDuffie, their best cornerback, and being replaced by a rookie who I think is the best rookie in the draft, him on Georgia Lane. But I got to see it. He's not going to be as good as Trent McDuffie in September. So it's that. It's little moves right there that kind of...
And that's where the real danger lies for Kansas City. It's not whether Mahomes can come back. He's cleared. He's throwing. He says he feels stronger than ever. The danger is in the details. The small moves that erode a dynasty. Clark called it out perfectly. Ryan Cook leaving for Cincinnati. McDuffie traded for draft capital, replacing proven starters with unproven rookies. Georgia Lane might be the best cornerback in this draft class, but he's still a rookie. He's not going to be Trent McDuffie in September. He's not going to be Trent McDuffie until maybe December if they're lucky. And by then, the division might already be decided. The AFC West is a bloodbath. Denver, the team that swept Kansas City last year, went to the Super Bowl and nearly won it. Bo Nix is entering his 2nd year with more confidence, more weapons, and the taste of a championship appearance still fresh. The Chargers are the team that literally ended Mahomes' season. The Raiders are rebuilding but dangerous. This isn't the division Kansas City used to sleepwalk through on the way to another AFC championship. This is a division that smells blood.
it's reacting and doing stuff like that. And so I feel like I wasn't playing my best football at the end of last year before I got hurt. And so I got to find ways to get better, kind of navigating the pocket, running the offense better, and getting the ball out of my hands and letting other guys make plays. And so I think this injury helped me kind of focus on those little things as I kind of get back to being who I am.
Patrick Mahomes ready for a comeback.
But here's the twist that nobody's talking about. Mahomes himself admitted something at that podium that was quietly devastating. He said, and I quote, "I feel like I wasn't playing my best football at the end of last year before I got hurt." Let that sink in. The greatest quarterback of his generation just told you he wasn't at his best before the injury. And then he said this injury helped him. That it forced him to focus on the little things, pocket movement, running the offense better, letting other guys make plays. That's not a guy coming back damaged. That's a guy who used 7 months of forced downtime to rebuild himself from the ground up. He's wearing a brace on his left knee. Sure. But between his ears, he might be more dangerous than he's ever been. And Andy Reid, the man who has known Mahomes longer than anyone in that building, was asked if he'd bet against Mahomes being ready for Week 1. His response? He would never bet against Patrick Mahomes. This is a head coach who has seen everything in 50 years of football. And he's not even hedging. He's not giving you the cautious, "We'll see how it goes" answer. He's telling you flat out, this man is going to be ready.
Yeah.
They should win 3 of those games. With or without Patrick Mahomes, they should win 3 of those games. That is my point. Unless you're going to tell me ain't no way in hell they going to win 2 to 3 of those games without Patrick Mahomes. I mean, against Miami and Vegas? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
Now, Stephen A. Smith went on First Take and said something that made every Chiefs hater's head explode. The Chiefs should win 3 of their first 5 games with OR without Patrick Mahomes. And honestly, he's not wrong. Indianapolis at home. Road games at Miami and Vegas. Are you kidding me? Kansas City should handle those teams regardless of who's under center. The only game that truly concerns you before the bye is Week 1 against Denver, and that's where the chess match begins. Do you risk Mahomes against the best team in your division on a Monday night with the whole world watching? 7 months after reconstructive knee surgery? Or do you trust Justin Fields to steal 1 game? Let Mahomes ease in during Week 2 and build toward full strength by October? Here's what I know. The Chiefs have too much talent, too much institutional knowledge, and too much Andy Reid to stay down for long. Mahomes at 85% is still better than 90% of the quarterbacks in this league. Kenneth Walker gives them a dimension they haven't had in nearly a decade. Rashee Rice is healthy and ready to be the #1 target. Xavier Worthy is entering his sophomore year with something to prove and a chip on his shoulder after those deep ball struggles. Tyquan Thornton adds speed and depth to the receiver room. Kelsey might be old, but he's still Travis Kelsey. And if you need a clutch catch in January, there's nobody in the history of the sport you'd rather have. In that offensive line, Tim Hasselbeck said it might be one of the best in football. The interior is elite. Josh Simmons looked like a franchise left tackle when he played last year. If that unit stays healthy, Mahomes might have the best protection he's had since his MVP season. But let's be real. This isn't the same Chiefs team that steamrolled the league for 5 years. The margin for error is razor thin. Mahomes can't do it all by himself anymore, and frankly, doing it all by himself is what put him on that operating table in the first place. If the offensive line doesn't protect him, if Walker doesn't deliver, if the rookie corners get exposed early, this team could be staring at another 8 or 9 win season and another early January vacation. The history of ACL comebacks in the NFL is not kind. For every Adrian Peterson, there are a dozen guys who were never the same. And Mahomes doesn't just need his knee to work, he needs it to let him do the things that make him Patrick Mahomes. The no-look passes, the sidearm throws while falling backwards, the improvisation that turns busted plays into touchdowns. If the brace limits even 10% of that magic, every defense in the NFL is going to notice. So here's the million-dollar question. Is Patrick Mahomes about to engineer the greatest comeback in NFL history? Or is the Chiefs dynasty officially in the rearview mirror? Is this the year Mahomes proves he's the undisputed GOAT? Or is this the year the AFC finally moves on without him? Run to the comments and let me know. Because this debate is about to split the entire football world in half.